And at one point in, flying over the globe and gathering surveillance intelligence information, Osama bin Laden had been spotted. And so after 9/11, there was a lot of talk, if only we had armed a drone then and taken him out, we might have prevented 9/11. So you see this ratcheting up of technology and the use of technology to think about how we can weaponize these systems and ultimately use them to further our political and military objectives. The Iraq War that started in 2003 was considered the first technology war. We started with 0 robots on the ground. By the end of that war, we had thousands of robots scuttling around Iraq. Drones was another big technological advancement that was brought into this process. And you see this really taking off under the Obama administration. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. Of course, when Obama was first elected, part of one of his first promises was, we're going to close Guantanamo and all of these black sites, and we're going to try and fix this problem of indefinite detention, which the United Nations has declared is itself a form of torture. The problem from a policy perspective is that if you look historically, how do you actually stop the behavior of individuals that you see as a threat to the security well-being of a country? Well, typically, 2 of the mechanisms have been either grab the person and detain them until you have the evidence to have maybe tried them in a court of law, but get them off the battlefield, or it has been to kill them and eliminate them as a threat that way. So one of the things you see is that as the number of detainees in custody goes down, I don't think it's any coincidence that you see the number of targeted drone strikes go up. It's seen as far more politically palatable at that point, in part because of the narrative that few American lives will be lost. The horrors of Mogadishu, where we lost so many American individuals, and it was such a shock to our country, again, it has been kind of at the center of a lot of the American government's thinking about what tactics to use in fighting the war on terror. And so the narrative goes, in a drone, you do not have an American person who could be shot down. The person is thousands of miles away operating this drone through GPS. And then the narrative has also been that these strikes are so targeted that they're only getting the individual that you see as a threat. Unfortunately, we now know through some really interesting investigative reporting that the numbers of civilians who've been killed are actually quite high. And from a legal perspective, that our standards around who we target for assassination, which starting in 1978 was illegal under United States law. That got softened in 1998 under Clinton, actually. He made an exception for terrorists. We see this growing understanding that the ramifications are actually quite large.